Thanks for joining us here in the kitchen at Resurrection Seminary. We have with us Father Eric Wagner. I call him Eric. We went through novitiate and we studied together here in St. Louis. So I just want to thank you, Eric, for taking some time out to do this interview, first of all.
My pleasure.
And to ask you the first question, which is always, how did you first get to know and be drawn to the Congregation of the Resurrection?
The Congregation of the Resurrection I first met in high school. My junior year teacher of religion taught me. That was my first introduction. And then later, the summer after my sophomore year in college, university, what have you, I spent a lot of time in prayer and really found myself asking, okay, am I called to be married, or am I called to, should I become a priest? And it was just abundantly clear kind of in that moment, really pursue this priesthood thing. You got to pursue this. And so I returned to the priest who taught me in high school, a guy that I felt of all priests somehow connected with, probably spent the most time with him, and said, hey, I need you to kind of help me with this. I don't know what this whole priesthood thing's about at all. So he sort of directed me and kind of helped me find my bearings again.
Mm-hmm. And what was it that you grew to love about the Resurrectionist community?
Community life. The guys that I met, he introduced me to a number of Resurrectionists along the way, really actually quite early on. And the more I met of them, the more I appreciated them, appreciated their spirituality, who they were just as men, as well as men who had shaped their life with a purpose, with really kind of in a sense of a calling, and it just sort of more and more invited me. They were always very inviting, very welcoming, sort of brought me into the community as I discerned wanting to join, and just always felt welcome, felt at home, really, in the community life of the Congregation of the Resurrection.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking some time out to do this interview. On a final note, is there anything that you'd like to say to any young person who might be discerning religious life or the priesthood?
Pray. Just real, and that sounds trite. That can be, overlooked or what have you. A life of prayer is really what makes a sense of calling, a sense of purpose more clear, the most clear. That's been my experience. But that's not just been my experience. That's been the experience of, I would dare say, everyone that I've ever known that has really considered this life and lived this vocation well, or lived any vocation well. That the meaning of it comes from their life of prayer.